Hello, Unchained family. This is Faith Unchained, where we teach you how to break the chains that bind you. So guys, if you're new to this channel, I ask that you please subscribe and be sure to hit that notification bell beside that subscribe button so you stay alert to any time I upload a video. Like this video because each like helps us to get seen by more viewers like yourself. And please share this video and our content with everyone that you know. So guys, we live in a society where sex is what sells, and sexual immorality runs rampant throughout our entire world. So I'm gonna go on and be honest with you guys. I'm guilty of this topic too, so I'm not excluded. And if at any point throughout this video you feel that I'm singling you out, please don't feel that way, because the thing is, almost each and every one of us are guilty of sexual immorality. And I feel it's very important that we address this particular topic. So whether you're young, whether you're old, doesn't matter, this message is for you, especially if you're a virgin. Because for you guys, I know how hard it is for you to maintain your virginity. And say you're in high school or you're in college, you're surrounded by people who are constantly pressuring you to have sex. So if you're with somebody, in a relationship with somebody, you're trying to hold on to your virginity and wait till marriage, they're constantly pressuring you to have sex with them. And the way they do it, they might give you an ultimatum. Well, if you don't do it, I'll go looking for it somewhere else. So you better do it with me, because that's what happened to me. I understand. And say you might have friends who are constantly talking about their experiences, right? And what they did. You feel that you're missing out, so you might as well just you dip your feet in the water, right? Just test it out, see how it is. I understand, but these are the reasons why you should wait till marriage to have sex. So first, it's very important to know what it is that God says about sex before marriage. These are things that it's very crucial that we have knowledge about, right? So sexual immorality has always been a problem in every generation. It's just that in this generation we have easier access to it, and a lot of it has to do with our access to social media, and it makes it easier for us to get in contact with people, right? And sex before marriage is something that's considered sexual immorality. So keep that in mind. Immorality was and is so rampant that Paul states marriage is the cure for sexual immorality. So because people can't control themselves and many have sex outside of marriage, get married. Fulfill your passions in a moral way and remain pure. Second, it's very important for us to know the purpose for sex within a marriage, as many have taken something that was intended to be so beautiful and have perverted it and used it for their own selfish desires, right? So the Songs of Solomon and verses like Proverbs 5:19 clearly describe the pleasure aspect of sex. But God's intent for sex was to also make children as well. But I want you guys to keep this in mind, because we're going to get deep from here on out. So, but more important is what the act of having sex does between you and your partner, which is making that man and woman become one, bringing them closer together. Sexual contact involves a level of intimacy that you're never going to experience within any of your other relationships throughout the course of your life. And what do I mean by any of your other relationships? I'm talking about your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends. You're never going to experience that with them. That level of closeness between your husband or your wife, right? That's something that's only shared between your husband and your wife. So, sexual contact does involve that level of intimacy, you're never going to experience with anyone, as we just said. And to remove that context is to pervert its use and limit its enjoyment between you and your spouse, right? And if you've ever heard anything about soul ties, or this is your very first time hearing about it, well, this is what you're doing whenever you're having sex. So basically, what that is you're giving a piece of yourself to the person that you're engaging in sexual activity with. And that's a piece that you'll never ever be able to get back. That's a piece that's always going to remain with that person that you had sex with. You're always going to be forever linked to that person. So that's not something that you're ever going to get back. And it's very difficult to cut those ties with that person. Because, as we said, sexual contact involves a level of intimacy that you're never going to experience in any other relationship. You're not just giving yourself to that person physically, but you're also giving yourself to that person emotionally and mentally, spiritually. So it's all wrapped into one, right? And this is where you're at your most vulnerable place, right? Because it's something that is so very personal and something so very intimate. So we've taken marital sex and we've turned it into casual sex. We've turned it into friends with benefits. We've turned it into hookups. We've turned it into one-night stands. We've turned it into group sex. And all of the things that I just named, these are all perversions of God's original design behind sex. So, however, there's nothing casual about any of these things. Nothing casual about it because of the depth of intimacy involved in the sexual relationship with the person that you're engaging in sexual activity with. And I really want to hammer that point home. There's nothing casual about it. You're still giving a piece of yourself to that person, right? Forever. So each time we engage in sexual relationships, you leave a piece of yourself behind. And the longer the relationship, the more of yourself that you leave behind, and the more of yourself you lose. So you're going to continue going from partner to partner. You will continue to lose more of yourself each time, and the ability to form long-lasting relationships. And it's for this reason, it's sad to me when it comes to when sex becomes nothing more than just fulfilling your own selfish desires and using your partner and or partners to get that desire filled. And so much so that it's turned into a phrase, hit it and quit it. So I do believe that's why many relationships, why many marriages do not last for this reason. And that people cheat because it becomes easier for them to do so, because it's become so much harder for them to form a long-lasting spiritual, emotional, and physical connection with the person that they're engaging in a relationship with. It becomes that much harder to do so because you've done it with so many people. So it's for this reason that sex the way God intended loses its beauty, and why people can just shut off their emotions. And I've heard so many people say it's just sex, which is not how it should be. It's just sex. Or sex on the flip side can become too important to somebody in a relationship, right? Instead of the actual relationship itself. So instead of having a meaningful experience, this is an experience that turns into something that becomes meaningless. And when they finish with one partner, it's just on to the next one. And it's just going to be a continuous cycle throughout. So lastly, it's better to marry than to burn with passion. And no, when it says burn, it's not talking about burning in hell. What it's talking about is you're going to be consumed with that unfulfilled desire if you do not get married, and you're somebody who struggles with sexual urges, right? So I'm talking to you people. So for some people, you're going to be able to be single. It's easier for some people to be single, only to fully devote yourself to God, to focusing yourself on God and living in accordance to His will and purpose. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with sexual urges, you're not going to be able to fully devote your attention to God and fully devote yourself to living in accordance to His will and purpose, because you're going to be struggling with that sexual urge. So if that's you, then you definitely need to get married. The sexual desires themselves aren't necessarily the issue, but what we do with those desires determines whether or not they lead us to sin, right? So people say all the time that it's good to test the merchandise to see if it's good, or to determine whether or not this is somebody that's going to be relationship or marriage material, right? As justification to have sex. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's wrong. I have a problem with MGTOW, or men going their own way, because they say they want a woman who's not been sexually active, or has little sexual experience, and they'll say on the flip side that women love a man who has a ton of sexual experience. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is also wrong. And feminists, of course, they'll say it's their body, their choice, and that they shouldn't be shamed for being promiscuous. This is also very, very wrong. So guys, if you're a virgin, this is the part that I want you to listen up to. Even if you're not, still, this is also for you too, but more important for you virgins out there. So please listen up. So the importance of keeping your virginity and remaining pure is the growth that comes between you and your spouse, right? Not only are you giving yourself to them, but you both are becoming one and learning about one another sexually for the very first time. So I do feel that whenever somebody has had sex and they have experience with having sex, they're not able to fully enjoy it in the way that they would if they never had sex to begin with, because they would be learning how to do all of this stuff for the very first time with their partner. So this would be a completely total different experience than if you were already sexually active. So the importance of waiting is because it's bringing you closer to your spouse, and you both are experiencing something truly beautiful for the very first time. It's a journey that you both can embark on, together. So if you're not a virgin, I want you to understand that this is something that you robbed of your spouse. You robbed them of the experience of, enjoying this with you together as a couple, right? And this could be potentially dangerous for the health and growth of your relationship. And I say that because if both of you have already been sexually active, or even just one of you, right? And you're with somebody who's never been sexually active, so you're going to constantly be comparing them to the people from your past. And so say they might not have been as good as somebody that you had from your past. Well, that's going to hurt your relationship, because you're going to be constantly comparing them to that person. And you could potentially end up going back to that person because you're not getting fulfilled in the way that you feel that you should with the person that you're currently with. So, that could be damaging. So you're going to constantly be worried about whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you are enough for your partner, right? You're going to constantly be worrying about, well, am I better than this person? Is he bigger than me? I'm just You're constantly going to be worried about stuff like that. So it can be potentially dangerous to the health and growth of your relationship. So that's just something that I want you guys to keep in mind. And I did feel that this was a very important topic to discuss. So guys, that's it for today. If you like what you saw, then I ask that you please like this video and please leave any questions, comments, or suggestions that you might have about today's video or any future video that you might want to see, and I'll do my best to get back to each and every one of you. And tell me, do you think that you should have sex before marriage, or should we wait to have sex after marriage? Please let me know your thoughts down below. And please, I ask, subscribe if you are new to this channel, and be sure to click on that notification bell right beside that subscribe button so you can stay alert to any time I upload a video. Like this video because each like helps us to get seen by more viewers like yourself, and please share this video and our content with anyone and everyone that you know. So guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. This is Faith Unchained, where we teach you how to break the chains that bind you. Until next time, you guys have a good rest of your week.